Hi, welcome to Glow's Kinder Kitchen, and I'm Glow. Thank you for joining us today. Today I am going to be making a chicken bone broth. And one of my sister-in-laws, Karen, had asked me if I would share this simple recipe. And I told her I'd be more than happy to. I have made it before in the past in my crock pot for you guys, but I'm going to just do it on the stove today and show you how easy it is. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm one that always keeps my chicken carcasses and bones, and I put them in the freezer, and skin and all. And also I do the same thing with my vegetables, that when I'm peeling an onion or something, if the skin or the peel looks good, see how nice and clean that is? I keep them. And if they, I make sure that everything's washed, and I put them in a freezer bag in my freezer. This here is fresh, but underneath here, like these stems, I froze those. I freeze my peels from my carrots, the ends to celery, and see, some of this stuff is still frozen, and part of my chicken is still frozen. Even the ends of my celery. So it's just, and I save leeks, whatever I have on hand, the trimmings. So what I do is I take my bones and I empty them out into my pot here. Then I rinsed my freezer bag out with water and put that in here as well. So I'm not wasting any of that flavor. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take and put all of these vegetables, the peelings and stuff, in here. And some of you might be thinking, what in the heck would she be saving all this stuff for? Well, these peels and everything make a delicious stock. Whether it's a chicken stock, a beef stock, ham stock, pork stock, whatever you have that you want to make. But I would say that probably chicken, in fact it is, my go-to. I always try to keep at least a couple of pints or a quart of chicken stock in my freezer. So I have all of this here, and I'm going to wipe off my hand here with my cloth. I have water here, and I'm just going to pour this over. There. So that's about 2 quarts of water additional that I added. So you just want most of it covered with water.
That is one full pot of
Yep,
stock.
it sure is. So now I have about a half a teaspoon actually of peppercorns here. And I'm going to put that in along with a bay leaf. And I'm going to put in probably about a half a teaspoon of thyme. Rub that in my hand. Now when you're making this and you're deciding what kind of herbs you want to put in here and flavorings, think about what you might be using your stock for. I'm probably going to be using this for like chicken and rice or chicken and noodles or chicken soup. So that's why I chose thyme, and I have parsley in here, and marjoram. I really like marjoram, and it goes really well with poultry. And I'm going to put in a couple of dashes of nutmeg. Nutmeg goes real well with it too. But not a lot. I'm going to put in a little bit of salt. Not a lot, because you remember, you're not really sure yet what you're going to probably use this for. If you were making this and you were going to use this tonight, more than likely you would know what you were going to use it for. So you could put additional salt in if you want, or wait till the end and see what it tastes like, because the chicken bones and stuff I have in here are from a rotisserie chicken or a roasted chicken. So they already have flavoring and salt on them. So that's why I kind of hold back on the salt till towards the end. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in. That's probably like a half of a teaspoon. And what really helps with bone stock is you add apple cider vinegar. So I'm going to probably do about 2 teaspoons. I'm going to turn my burner on. I'm going to put it on high to start with. I'm going to bring it up to a low boil. I'll put my lid on, and then I'll let this steep all day, or most of the afternoon actually, because the more it cooks, the more flavor you're going to have, and then you're going to have that delicious stock. So anyway, I'll be back in just a little while and I'll let you see what it looks like. Well, look at our pot just boiling away here. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it down to low. Now I forgot to mention to you guys also that when you're making this, make sure you use you know, a nice stock pot. If you're going to do it in the you know, the oven, you can use you know, like what I have right here. This is cast iron, or you could use a roasting pan with a lid. But you know, for the stove, I like to use kind of a heavy duty one, and I find that this cast iron one works really well. But it smells so good already, you guys. And see, all of this stuff in here, I would have thrown out years ago, and it just makes the best stock ever. Now, I don't like to buy stock in the store. This is superb compared to that. So anyway, this is going to be cooking all afternoon, and then when it's ready for us to strain, I'm going to show you the next tip that I do. So I'll be back later on today. Well, our stock has been brewing on the stove for 5 hours, so let's take a look at it. I'm going to lift this lid. I haven't lifted it yet, and always lift your lid away from you because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of steam coming out. Yep. So I've had this on low for about 5 hours, a little over that actually. You can see how it's all cooked down. Now you could easily cook this longer. You could cook it for 20, 25, up to 40 hours. Low
40,
and slow.
40? Wow.
If you do that, I would recommend using a crock pot. I have used my big roaster before when I had a, like for example, a turkey carcass. If I had a couple of those, I would definitely use my turkey roaster and do it for 40 hours. But this is just a small batch. And so what I do after I've, you know, cooked it this long is I take this and put it over in my colander. This is what a colander looks like. So, and you just continue to do this. This pot, given the fact that it is cast iron, is pretty heavy. So that's why I do it this way. As it gets down to the bottom and there's a little bit left, then I'll pour it over the colander as well. But see, super easy. Smells wonderful.
Sure does.
So I'm going to go ahead and continue to do this, and then I'll be back with you and I'll show you what the next step is. Well, I just got done straining all of this. See how beautiful this broth is?
Looks good.
Yeah. And I'll take a sample of it for you guys. Now remember, I didn't put very much salt in this at all. So let me taste it and we'll see. Oh, it's very good. Actually, excellent. Slightly velvety, and that's because of the wings and the skin that I have in here, which is like collagen. And what I like to do is I add gelatin to this, and it'll make it even more velvety. If I wanted to, I could have gotten more chicken wings or chicken feet. There's a lot of people that do that to make their broths even more velvety. That does cost more money to do that. One of the ways to do it also is to get yourself some plain gelatin. This is high in protein, and you just bloom it in a small cup of water like this. And I'm going to let this set here for probably 5-10 minutes and it'll bloom. You add it to your broth or your stock, and you will have the most velvety gelatin type broth, and it makes the best soups and gravies. But anyway, I'm going to let this, like I said, bloom for that length of time, and then I'll stir it up, and then I'm going to put it in here. And then what I'm going to do is transfer all of this into my jars that I'm going to let come to room temperature, and then I'm going to put them in my freezer so that I will have this stock to do gravies or soups or chicken and noodles, whatever I want. So anyway, I'll be back and I'll show you what the finished, product looks like, and we'll talk to you in a little bit. Well, our stock is ready now to put in our jars. And what I do is I usually bring my pan over close to it, so it helps me so I don't make such a mess. So what you do is you just pour this in your jar, which is clean, and I always use a funnel. It just helps to be able to get it to go in there nicely. You always want to leave head space, because when you freeze this, or if you were going to can it, it will expand. So you should always leave at least an inch of head space. So you can see that people that can never go above this rim here. But when I'm freezing, I have it go below that because I don't want my jars to break. If I have a jar that breaks, I lose my broth and my jar. So that's why I don't do that. So let's now do one of these. This is a quart size jar. And this chicken broth, or stock I should say, bone stock, is darker in color than when you buy it at the store probably. One of the reasons is because I had red onion peels in this, and I also had the carrots, and that all, and also the onion peels from the yellow onions. And that adds color to your broth and as well as flavor. But I promise you, once you start doing this, you're not going to want to use the store broth anymore. And this is so much more economical. And once you put it in your pot and cook it on the stove, you really don't have to worry about it, or if you're going to put it in your crock pot, because it'll take care of itself pretty much. Move this one over. So I'm going to go ahead and continue to do this, and after I get this all in here, then I'm going to show you what I do with my vacuum sealer. Hi, well, my stock's all done. I ended up getting 2 quarts, 2 pints, and a jelly jar. And all of this was pretty much free for us. What I use to make this stock is stuff that I used to just throw away. And I am so glad that I learned this technique on how to make homemade stock. And I hope this helps you as well. I went ahead and I sealed this jar, but then I got to thinking as I was doing this one, I need to show you guys how I do that. So this one's already sealed. So when I remove this lid is on here. So I'm going to go ahead and put my ring on here, but you don't want to tighten it all the way. And remember, you need to leave your head space of a good inch, like this one here. See how that's a good inch away?
Yep.
So I went ahead and I put the top on this one. So let's go ahead and do this one. And what this does is it seals the jars, and you don't need to use new lids for this technique. You just need to make sure they're clean lids. And you clean the outer rim of your jar, and then this will actually seal it and remove the air that's in there. So let's go ahead and do this. And once it starts to do that, removing the air, this will take care of it. And it'll stop on its own when it's ready. See, it stopped. And then you're going to, and did you hear that noise?
Yep.
The vacuum released. Then when you remove this, lid should be on there nice and secure, just like that.
Looks good.
And see how the head space is there? There's more than an inch, and that's what you want. Because if you don't do that, when this freezes, this jar, if the broth goes up here too high, you will break your jar. And I have done that, so I'm speaking from experience. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten this. So now I have just one more here to seal, and I won't take the time to show you how I do that. But this one here, I'm not even sealing. I'm going to put this in the refrigerator, and I will use that this week. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this, and if you have and you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please do. Give me a like, thumbs up, and I will talk to you later. Have a great day, and thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. Bye.